Anybody remember the experiences? I don't remember them in order. Huh? First one was about river turning to blood. I wish we could go there. And lice and a whole heap of stuff. And the first three, I think the Egyptian magicians were able to mimic. But when they got to a certain point now when, yes, they say, oh, this has to come from God because we can't do anymore. And even with that, we encounter the point that when persons are steeped in sin, when Satan has taken over the reign of their minds, even when the information is clear, even when you make the correct presentation, even when they know it's true, and even when they accept that it is true, they still go and come back again. And that was the case with Pharaoh several times. Several times he called for Moses and said, come over, man, and cease this plague for me. And as soon and when you cease, you are going to let the people go, and he made some conditions. And as soon as the plague ceased, he gone back to his own way. And that went on until he lost his firstborn. Imagine that. Not only him, but all those who didn't have the blood over the doorpost. And what the blood represents. No, man. It is very important to know. Ask about the blood over the doorpost and what it represents. Christ's protection. I want us to connect that, because all those who didn't have it over the doorpost, when the destroying angel came through, their firstborn gone. And some of the Egyptians were smart enough to say, listen, we see all what going on already, and they weren't necessarily converted. But they said, listen, we see what happened already. We're going to join with these Israelites and make sure we get covering too. And they got the protection of God. Yes, their livestock, yes. Amen.
Okay, I wanted to bring up a fact about the plagues. And you mentioned that the magicians were able to mimic 3 of them. But we know that it was not so, because it seemed that way. It was something what they call optical illusion. Okay? So it appears that what they were doing, like when they put the rods on the ground and all that, because you know that Satan can put life into anything. So that is why when God sent those frogs, and they prayed for them to go away, he took them, he let them die, but what happened? They were there. All of those stinky frogs were there, scraped up in a heap. God didn't take them away, because he could have done that, but he didn't, just to show them that this is not magic. This is the Creator.
Amen. Good point. A good point. Yes. You have to make the people over the internet get some money. We only have one mic.
notice that when the Israelite left Egypt, Egyptians went with them. That was the cause of a whole lot of trouble. Because we said they were a mixed multitude. And remember when Moses went up in the mount with God and he spent 40 days, it was the mixed multitude, the spirit of prophecy, the same patriarchs and prophets said. It was the mixed multitude, those that came out of Israel, out of Egypt. Because remember, the Egyptian had over 1,500 gods. So when they came out and Moses, they said, it's Moses. We don't know whether it's going to come now. Let's make something. So they were used to having gods that they could see. So again, I'm just thinking of when Sister Campbell said some people were obedient. It was not genuine obedience, it was fear. They saw what happened to the Egyptian, and they said, let me stay close to the Israelites, so I will be protected. So it was really out of fear, protecting yourself. But we noticed they followed out of fear, not genuine conversion, not knowing God for themselves, and they caused trouble in the camp.
I'm going to throw something up against, along that line. As I started on it, on the whole matter of the blood being over the doorpost, and the fact that they got the covering, that God kept his promise. They would have been through the plagues. And I was asking, you have a question? Not here. I really the question if you come no, not here. Yes. Yes, I can hear you now. Yes. I was getting there. No, that is exactly where I was going. That is exactly where I was going. So I was saying, we talk about the blood over the doorpost, and the fact that if they didn't have it, they would have met the consequences. There were some, whether out of fear or otherwise, I don't know what is the state of their consciences.
So, Brother Tracy, the Tracy's family is here, and they're from the, which one? Yes, all right, and so they're here with us. So, Brother Tracy, Sister Tracy, the Tracy family, all the clients from over there, it's Bible class, and we're inviting you to be a part. You know, you can jump in. We're a family, and even though you're extended family, but you still can jump in, all right?
So that is from the Bosco Bell Church, right? If it is that the blood over the doorpost represents Christ and our acceptance of him, because as a church we believe that when we accept Jesus, we are justified by him. Isn't that so? And we come into the church, right? And we are saved by grace through Jesus Christ. What happens after that? Because it would seem from the mixed multitude that many of them wanted either to go back to their old lifestyle or carried parcels of their old lifestyle, and they were able to influence a large portion of the believers, to the extent where when Moses returned, there was basically only one group, basically the Levitical group, that were in any strong resistance